Welcome to the Elite Life Podcast with your hosts, Trisha and Kylie. Here, we guide you on a journey of personal and professional transformation, revealing the secrets to success. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, join us as we unlock the doors to the elite world of growth, grit, and grace. So, let's dive in.
Welcome, friends, to another episode of the Elite Life Podcast. We are so glad you joined us today. My name is Trish. That is Kylie. Ta-da!
I'm here.
And today, we have an extra special friend joining us.
I'm so excited! Our friend Rebecca is here, and we are so excited to unpack everything that this woman brings to the table. The small town charm, the big time hustle, and the serious heart real estate. Everybody, welcome Rebecca Vincent!
Thank you.
AKA Princess Lots of Hair. I do have you in my phone as that, so we're just
that is
appreciating
awesome.
the fact that your hair is gorgeous. All right.
I appreciated that segue because you were like, Princess Lots of Hair, and then you came in with your lots of hair, and Dave started to help you fix the lots of hair, and then that's all I could think about was the lots of hair. So.
Yes, legitimate. Okay, I burned myself out on that introduction. All my energy is gone, so there you go.
Well, little intro to Rebecca. She's a mom, she's a nurse, she's a powerhouse realtor working the thumb of Michigan, and trust me, this episode is going to be full of amazingly hilarious stories.
We're setting you up for success, sister.
So much wisdom and a few laughs, too. So buckle up, friends. It's going to be a fun ride.
Yeah. So let's start with your story. We like to say start at the beginning and end at the end. We want you to unpack your journey from, how you got into real estate, everything that was, involved in that, and what life looks like in Brown City where you live.
Oh gosh. Okay.
I know, loaded question.
You can start wherever you want. When I was born.
Yeah, Anthony came on and he was like, well, on a Thursday night, on a stormy Thursday night.
But as my grandpa say, you were as big as a loaf of bread.
Yes. So I guess we can kind of start with, my journey into real estate, how that got started, because I could bore you with at this point I'm in my 20th year of nursing. I know I started when I was 3, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I'm in my 20th year of nursing, so still do that, keep active in that, but real estate has moved to the forefront for me. How I got started is it's something I'd wanted to do for many years, be involved in real estate in some facet, whether it was as a realtor, buying, selling, whatever. And I had talked about it for quite some time. And my other half, Kevin, was kind of tired of hearing me talk about it. And he's like, why don't you do something about it? And I'm like, I'll get there. Yeah, I'll get to it. And so one day he just calls me up. He goes, well, I just signed up for my real estate classes. Where are you at? He said, I'll send you the discount code. So I was like,
challenge accepted.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. Like, you aren't going to do this before I am. And he knew though he kind of had to do that to push me, to get me to like just commit to doing the classes and whatnot. So I was like, yeah, challenge accepted here.
Yeah.
So I did my 40-hour course thing, went and took my test, and shortly after that I was hanging out in the office for a week with Trish and Andy and got my start there. It was like August of 22.
Well, that went by quick, man.
Yeah.
Right?
It's been, and that's, that's like my time frame is BBH, before broken hip. So it was 2022 BBH. And I started in August, and then I broke my hip in September, but I was like, well, this is not going to stop me, from selling real estate. So sure enough, I sold my first home, I think in December of that year with, broken hip, and it was a house with stairs and whatnot. And I would go to show it and be on my butt, scoot up the steps, because there are a lot of steps in this house.
Whatever it takes, friends, whatever it takes.
That's the elite experience. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yes. Luckily, they were longtime friends of mine, so they were understanding and gave me a lot of grace that, yes, I'm not going to be at full capacity, but I will scoop my butt up and down those stairs, and we are going to look at this house. So sold my first home, from a wheelchair, basically, while working full-time as a legal nurse out of my house, and raising 2 children. So that's, was my first few months of real estate, and even, still battling a broken hip and all the things that went into that and the surgeries, continued to push, and even drove from Brown City to, I can't remember where, I think it was in Hale. I drove that way many times, working on selling a house or getting a house for some friends of mine, a vacation home up there. Again, broken hip, all traveling that way in the truck, getting in and out with crutches in the snow and all of that. Still, I'm determined, like, I got this license. We are selling real estate.
Yes, ma'am.
So, made all that happen. And, gosh, it's like my first year it just like snowballed. I never even got it. I didn't up there in Brown City. I know everybody. I was born and raised there. So all of my clientele has been people that know me, word of mouth, and friends and families. I've never done the cold calling. That has never been something that, that was part of my real estate. And it still isn't. I don't do, any of that up there. I think if I were to cold call people in the thumb, they would probably cold cock me. So they'd be like, what are you doing? You're crazy, and hang up the phone. So, yes, the journey into real estate, I never expected it to be as big as it is for me. I just anticipated this was going to be like, just a side thing, do a few a few transactions for family and friends. Never in my wildest dreams did I think that I was going to, didn't think I was going to do as well as I did, and I continue to do. And I'm very grateful for that. And again, still doing it while balancing, staying active in nursing in some facet, again, that broken hip changed a lot of things for me as far as what I can do in nursing. Kind of in between all this, I had tried to do some hospice work again. And for the first time in, my million-year career, I ended up on a floor with a patient on top of me. And that was kind of like, that was the wake-up call of, okay, you can't pick people up anymore. So had to kind of dial back on that, and then just get back into the kind of the legal facet of things of nursing, and use this brain that I have, with 20 years of great knowledge. so many things. So that's kind of, the very, I guess, quick nutshell of what the last few years of my my real estate career has been. But at this point, it is at the forefront. It's what I focus on mainly at this point. I fill in here and there to help out nursing wise. Again, it's from a legal review type of standpoint, using my working smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
So, but I have sold a lot of interesting things.
You have, and that was like one of the reasons we love chatting with you. But also, every time you and I talk, you have some like new, amazing, and fun story. And you mentioned how you don't do calls like we do a lot in the Metro Detroit area, because we're such a populated area. There's so many people to talk to, and we do a lot of like online advertising and things like that. For our agents that are trying to get started in a small town like Brown City or Michigan's Thumb, like what do you suggest, or like where are your places? Like how did you build your business? Like I know you grew up there, and some of it are like people but what about when you maybe ran out of people at certain times? How'd you find your people?
The biggest thing is you have to serve somewhere in some facet, because you can't expect to be served by others if you're not serving yourself. So one of the biggest things is getting involved in community, in church. If that, to me, that's a big proponent is church and your faith and whatnot. But you have to serve your community And, so for me, I'm on Chamber of Commerce, and we're just getting that going again in Brown City. That's only been going again for a couple of years. It was something that was quite an active group many years ago. Like my grandpa was big on Rotary and Chamber in Brown City when it was flourishing, so that's, one thing is getting involved in your community, and again, what can I do for them? Well, how can I serve my community? How can I serve the people in my town that I was born and raised with? And that, because I can't expect them to support me if I'm not going to be giving back in some facet. So, from there, it has given me some other business. I sold one of our long-standing buildings in town. It had, for years, early on, it had been a grocery store, then it was a pharmacy, and then it was a general store, and now, a new person owns it. But it was an honor to get to do that, to actually sell, something, a part of the history of our town, and be a part of, what we say, making Brown City great again. But, that is the biggest thing, is building the relationships, because in the smaller areas, especially, where I live in North, people are not going to really respond to calling, expireds and things like that. They're not, they're going to tell you how they feel about you calling them. Like that. And the biggest thing is the relationships. And again, it goes back to, I worked on the road as a hospice nurse for years in the Thumb. So there isn't a road in that area that I haven't traveled, and people that I haven't met. And so all of those old relationships have carried on, because people know me from, being born and raised there, taking care of their family members, and things like that through the years. So they already knew that, okay, this is a person that we trust, that we know is going to do a good job and do right by us no matter what. Because, I mean, if they allowed me to take care of their loved one in the most, in one of the most intimate times in their lives, they can probably trust me to sell their house.
Got to be the person people know, like, and trust. We talk about that a lot.
Yes.
Do I know you? Do I like you? Do I trust you?
Yes.
So I love how you chatted about serving others. And it's interesting because just yesterday it was so nice out now. I was like, oh, I'll grab the mail. And we have a little like magazine newspaper thing about Clarkston, and I was like, let me actually read through this. I have an actual extra 75 seconds of my life, and there was a whole page of like Clarkston Rotary and Clarkston Legion and like all of these like clubs and things, and I'm like, I actually didn't know that those still existed. Like there's the Daughters of the Revolution and stuff, and I'm like, I thought that was all stuff like your grandma did, and now it doesn't happen, but it does happen.
It does.
In Brown City or in Clarkston. So like check out your neighborhood and your Chamber of Commerce. Those are great examples to give and resources to give. Those things are still happening.
Yes.
And you got to step outside of the internet sometimes and into the community.
Yeah. You have to be seen, have a physical presence. Now, I'm not a social media person. Like, I think we can all attest that my social media posts are lacking. There are like really none, and I'm not good at it. It's not my thing. But even without that, I've continued to be successful because of relationships, because of people knowing me, knowing my family, and just knowing who I am as a person throughout the years. And that's the advantage of small town, real estate, instead of, down here where it's so easy to get lost in the mix. There's so many people, you don't have that type of relationship base built, but up where we are and whatnot. And again, the service thing, shout out to Kevin again. He really sets an example too of serving the community, Rotary, Chamber, everything.
Wrestling coach.
Yes.
Baseball coach.
He started that wrestling club, and that is what has served, him well. And then same thing with me where I'm at. Those relationships and whatnot, and where you're serving, that's where you build those relationships and continue to have those through, as you go on in your career and in your life, So
Yeah.
it's really important.
And that's important to mention too, that it lasts for your whole life. Like when we were just saying wrestling coach, I was thinking like, wow, I've actually helped 3 of the girls that I was their cheerleading coach find houses. And I think there was only 7 of them. So like, and that was so many years ago. That's when my sister Nikki was in elementary school cheerleading, and I was their cheerleading coach for 2 years. And I got 3 out of 7 of them houses now. Awesome. And they're building their families and having their children. So it goes a long way, that service mentality, and lasts a lifetime from generation to generation. So that is great resources to share. Would you grace us with one of your fun stories? Tell us about either your most exciting deal or your craziest deal, or anything that involved trading a cow and a goat and a tractor for a shed, whatever you feel like.
Gosh, I don't know. It's hard to think of some of them off the top of my head. Probably one of the wildest, showings that I've been on is I was showing a house to one of my friends we were Gladwin, Harrison area. And I know when she watches this and listens to this podcast, she's going to be laughing. So we're out on a back road in this old stone house, and you walk in and there's weird stains on the floor, and you're just getting the vibes that something happened here, and again, I've been a nurse for a long time. She had been a medic, and she's a nurse now. So
you're both looking at these stains. You're like,
yeah. And so we're both looking at in the spots where the carpet's missing and everything. We're like, and we're assessing well, we think this happened here and whatnot. And you would think at that point we should be like, you know what? Common sense should prevail. Maybe we'll leave.
Yeah.
Because there are dead flies all over this house.
Because this is a murder house. This is a murder house.
Not just a murder house. It's an old murder house.
A stone murder house.
And I mean, flies everywhere and all over the place. Yeah. And it's cold out still. So
that's something.
Yeah, there's something about that. So, but of course, we can't walk away. It's like a train wreck. We just can't look we have to really inspect this whole thing because we are here for it. So we go upstairs, we look at the house, and it's getting creepier and creepier as we go. And then we go to the other part of the house, and we see the basement steps, and we're looking at each other, and of course the light doesn't work really well. Nope. It's a little dim. And I'm looking at her, and she's looking at me, and she's like, "You're not gonna go down there." And I'm like, I mean, we're here. And she's like, I don't know. I don't think you should. I'm like, I gotta see. I gotta see this. So,
this is the part of the movie where everybody's like, turn around.
Yes. And again, she's got, umpteen million years of medic and nursing experience. I've been a nurse forever and ever. We both know, we probably shouldn't be investigating this, but again, we are committed. So I go down these rickety steps, and again, mind you, I'm still less than a year out from repairing a broken hip, so I'm not really agile. But again,
so you can't get away if anything gets you.
I cannot get away. And she's standing at the top of the stairs. She's like, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't go down there. I'm like, I'm committed. I'm going. So I get down there, and I'm got my flashlight. I'm looking around. I'm like, it's not too bad, but there is a large freezer, one of the old ones with the rounded corners. It is like
from the 50s,
from the 50s, the kind that it's over 6 feet long. That sucker is huge. So I'm telling her what's down there, and she's like, I gotta see this too. So
you're not gonna open the freezer.
They did. Did you open the freezer?
So she comes down with me, and again, dimly lit basement, old. And it's scary.
Was it like an unfinished Michigan basement?
Yes, it was.
A dirt basement.
Yes, and then it had the second room, kind of
literally where you go to get murdered.
100%. It had swinging doors, and I'm curious. I've got to see all this. So I'm looking and kind of checking out the rest of the basement, and she's over by the freezer, and she's just like, "Should we?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't." No, She pops it open, and and there was just old, old food.
Oh, thank God.
It was just food.
Oh, it was just food.
I mean, that, and it wasn't plugged in, you know,
So the food was dead.
yeah, absolutely 100%. So
Hence the flies.
So, you know, we finally decide, all right, we've had enough. You know, we've had enough of this house, and we, you know, make our way up this, you know, these rickety steps that probably nobody should have been walking up and down. But we, her and I probably had some of the most exhilarating experiences looking at houses up there in that area, and you know,
Because they're all haunted.
well, yeah, and then the one we went in, like we opened the door and you can immediately smell like something is dead in this house.
Nope.
Like, and it's, you know, and the house was new, like newer, and so there shouldn't have been
Dead smell.
dead smell. And finally, like, of course, do we turn around and leave? Absolutely not. We are committed and we are curious.
We're going to figure out why it smells like dead in
It's
here.
a Scooby-Doo mystery that must be solved.
Right.
It is. And we go and finally I track the smell to a dead mouse floating in the toilet. And so
okay.
yeah, couldn't so we at least we found we did discover the mystery, but
It wasn't a human body.
no,
which
but
is
there
the
was
plus.
a garbage can in the closet with a bunch of duct tape on it.
Nope. That's a no.
We did not investigate any further. We just decided it was probably time to leave. So yeah, we had.
Like, what do you say when the listing agent calls you for feedback? Well, everything was fine. The mouse in the toilet didn't bother us. Concerned about the duct tape trash can in the closet.
Yes. Yeah.
You might want to talk to your client about that.
Yeah, I did have to ask them. I did tell her about the mouse in the toilet. Because if somebody flushes that, there's gonna be a problem. You know, there's gonna be a
You
problem.
might need to get a net, fish that bad boy out of there.
Somebody, I said, you know, I'm pretty up for adventures and stuff, but I did not have anything to remove this mouse today. So, I mean, I usually have like everything under the sun with me, but nothing to fish out a dead mouse.
Fair.
Yeah.
I feel like that's fair.
Yeah.
That was not in our realtor car survival kit.
No.
No, it was not.
No, I never put net to fish out dead animals in toilets.
Nope.
Did not. But you also haven't just been selling residential. You also have got into commercial, vacant land. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. So, made the move into commercial. Actually, I think one of my very first listings was commercial. It was a church. It was a sister church to my church. And so
I remember that little cute church. Yes. I was like, you could do so much with this. Like,
and so, you know, kind of, I didn't let, you know, segueing into it, you know, like branching off into commercial scare me even right out the gate. I mean, that was basically my second real transaction was listing this church, which was, you know, commercial property. So I've been active in both. I just sold some commercial land. I've sold a pharmacy, which was commercial, sold another commercial building as well, and one that was a multi-use commercial building. And I have a few more commercial properties listed at this point, and some one is, you know, an actual building, and then another one is vacant land that's, you know, has a commercial component to it. So, you know, really, it can sound, you know, kind of scary or overwhelming to break into that, but really, I mean, it's just figuring everything out, you know, figuring out the zoning, figuring out what is allowed. And I do have some industrial land, like general industrial zoned land. So I kind of have the whole gamut right now of every every type of land. I just sold some tillable land. I have other tillable land for sale. I've got commercial land. I've got industrial land. So it's really kind of, you know, land, even though you're not dealing with a house and a building, it has all of its own little nuances with it, with understanding the zoning and what is allowed, and what kind of soil is there and the drainage and all that stuff. So it's a whole other ball of wax, but everything's figure outable. You know, that's you can't say no to something because you're scared and you've never done it before, because you're never. How are you ever going to do it if you don't do it that first time? You know, you have to just dive in, and then when you're not sure what to do, you call your magic brokers. You call this lady and you call Andy, and you're like, what did I get myself into? And how do I get myself out of it?
and we always work it out.
And we do. Yeah, it always works out.
Someone has the answers.
Yeah.
Yes. So I call them and they walk me through, like, okay, well, this is how you're going to handle that, and this is what you're going to do. And it's been a pretty fun adventure, you know, going into that, and commercials, I like commercial in the sense that when you're selling commercial property, I find that investors and business people are pretty straightforward. They either want it or they don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's a straight yes or no. And they just, if they don't want it, they don't spend any more time on it. You know,
That's kind of nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't have the, you know, the yes and no and up and down. It's yes, I want this. No, I don't. Move on.
I love that. Call it a day.
Yep.
Cut and dry. Cut
That is
and
a
dry.
big difference between like residential purchases
Yeah.
for sure. Like especially when you're dealing with like a husband and wife or something like that. And
Yes.
they're like, well, we like the house, but James thinks that, you know, we could find something bigger, but I really like it. And can we put a garden in the backyard?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, Sharon, do you want the house or not?
Yeah.
Sharon. It's James and Sharon today.
And Sharon. Yes. Yeah. So the commercial, a lot of the indecisiveness is taken out.
Yeah.
But sometimes though you do have some, you know, up and down, and then that's when you just gotta common sense prevail and black and white. You know, do you want this or do you not? Like, we're not gonna, you know, beat this around all day, you know.
Right. For sure.
Kind of help people reach that decision-making capacity.
Well, we like to talk about both business and personal here on the Elite Life. So you are balancing a lot of jobs, all the jobs, the mom,
the
the
hats.
realtor, all of the hats. How do you balance it all? Do you have any like resources you use that you just like, I live and die by the Google Calendar, and I gotta get outside and, you know, get some walking or running in every day. What does Rebecca do? How does she stay sane?
Well, I mean, it's pretty, you know, you're assuming a lot saying that I stay sane. It's pretty presumptuous of you. Having a routine. So get up at 5, do my exercises, which actually my 12-year-old gets up with me. That's our thing. He's like, and he gets mad if we miss it. He's like, you didn't get me up. So we get up at 5 a.m. We do our exercises and all of that good stuff, and, you know, then get the day started. I have, you know, my calendar on my phone, and that's what I have to put everything in. Otherwise, I won't forget. Or, I mean, I won't remember. I will forget everything. I won't be where I'm supposed to be. So, you know, that's how I keep track of what I'm doing each day and where I'm going and where I'm supposed to be. But yes, balancing 2 school-age kids, you know, you have to have help. You know, you have to have extras, and I live next door to my parents. So, fortunately, my dad retired last year, so his schedule is now full with a lot of, you know,
All of your spillover.
yeah. Like today, I was on my way here and I'm calling him. Will you be home at 3:30 just in case I don't make it back home by 3:30 when the kids get off the bus? Can you walk over there and make sure that, you know, they get off the bus okay? You know, so there's, you know, a lot of grandpa daycare.
That's amazing.
And then like when, you know, again, now that he's retired, when the kids got, you know, been sick or whatever, he is taking them to the doctor. So I don't have to, you know, miss work or cancel, you know, work and stuff, because this is how I support my family. You know, this is how I feed them.
And I think Dad knows that one day you're going to take care of him too. So
Quid pro quo.
yeah, that's what I tell my mom. She'll walk in the house, like I'll call her, like especially if like Ryan's gone. And I love that I live so close to my mom too. Like if I could live next door to her, I would. But because I'm still attached by the umbilical cord to my mother, and she'll walk in my house. She'll be like, the Guatemalan nanny is here. Everything is fine. Give me your laundry. Send me your brokenhearted. Like. And it's such an amazing blessing to have that support system.
Did you know that over 80% of real estate agents call it quits within their first year in the business? It's a staggering statistic. But at mystarsacademy.com, we're here to change that narrative. Our expert-based training and coaching program caters to both agents and brokers. The Agent Accelerator program is your key to leveling up your real estate business. Learn how to generate a constant flow of free leads, convert those leads into loyal clients, and keep them coming back for more as repeat business. Our industry experts bring years of proven success to the table and provide one-on-one coaching to help you achieve structure and work-life balance. We'll map out a plan for you to follow, guiding you through the steps to scale and grow both in your business and personal life. Don't become another statistic. Visit mystarsacademy.com and enroll today to pave the way for your future success.
Okay, so you were saying you and your mom.
Yeah, so my mom and I usually end up I guess helping, close family and friends kind of navigate health issues and stuff. We have a friend, that's had some major health concerns and just doesn't know how to navigate that system and making phone calls and insurance and all of that. So I do a lot of I guess pro bono case management work, what I mean?
Yeah.
And in kind of advocating and stuff like that. So that's, kind of one more hat that I wear. But again, like my dad fills in that space of, either managing my kids while we are off, managing somebody else's health issues, or, or he's taking people to doctor's appointments and stuff like that. But, yes, to navigate all of the things that I do and manage all of the, all of my time and coming and going and stuff like that. Yes, the grandpa daycare and his transportation services have been well utilized. And when he retired last year, I told him, I said, you're never going to know how busy you can be when you're not employed anymore. I said, you are going to be the busiest you have ever been now that you're retired.
My mom says that too. She
Yes.
retired from Fords, and she's like, all I do is drive grandkids around and this and that and all over the place, which is just like...
That was Mary. When Mary retired, because Lauren retired when Ryan was in high school, because he'd been working since he was 7. So he retired. And then Mary retired a couple years before Casey went into preschool, because she was working at Stepanski's. And so it was like she had our kids, and then Logan was born. So she had Logan, and then, Kaya, she had Kaya, and then, they're helping friends. They're doing the garage sailing. They're doing all the things. They're going over here. They're going over there. And, it would be funny because, you would think someone who's retired, you call them and they're just loafing around, eating a cookie, maybe mowing the lawn. Yep. And Mary, I would call her and be like, hey, can you fit this into your schedule? And she's like, well, if I move this and I do this, then yeah, I can fit it in. We've got ear doctors and eye doctors and this doctor and that appointment and lunch over here. And we're going to the cabin, and it is astounding. I cannot wait.
Yes. Yeah. My dad has his own calendar on the fridge.
So lean into your village is tip number 1.
Yes. Yeah. It takes a village, and you have, if I had to tote them around with me everywhere, I could. They're, and they are getting to that point. They're older. They're 11 and 12 now. And, tomorrow they'll go to a Chamber of Commerce event with me. Saturday we have a Chamber of Commerce auction, so they will be getting up and being at the auction at 6:30 on Saturday morning with me.
I love that for them.
Up, and but they like it. They really enjoy serving. We did a Rotary thing up in Cass City a couple months ago now, and of course the kids are with me, so they were helping, and they were so proud to put those Rotary aprons on, and Nolan is just standing up there with his apron on, helping and bringing the auction items up, and he is proud as a peacock. So I'm really proud of them in the fact that they do enjoy that serving as well. He, for VBS at church, he doesn't want to go there to be a participant. He wants to go and he wants to help put it on. He wants to serve. He wants to do and he wants to give. He doesn't want to consume. He wants to give. And, those are really important values for our children to see. And I'm glad that, my two are picking that up. They see not only me doing that stuff, but my parents and Kevin, our whole lives revolve around, serving and giving, which is good. It is a good thing. And
yes, what else are you going to do?
Right. Well, and I think that that's so important, Rebecca, because when Trent was little, so we started serving when I always served too. Like my mom did at church. Like we were part of Ladies Aid. I was like 5th generation Ladies Aid at church, which Ladies Aid there, like they set up every like funeral dinner, holiday dinner, all of those things.
The baby
all of the baby
showers.
all of that stuff, right? So then when Trent was in kindergarten, we got started with the St. John's Veterans Project. And then I'm always like working out in the morning. So it's great. It's fun listening to your story because sometimes you feel like that's just like you, like, not that you're like the me mom or the strut, but it's like you live differently than other people do. And I always try to explain to people, like, you set the standard for your kid. So when your kids see you waking up every morning at 5 a.m., they get excited to wake up and work out with you at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
When you have always raised them to be serving like you have, then they get excited to go and serve. It's not something that's a chore. And I try to explain that to people, like, you're not punishing your child by having them go do, give back work or stand and ring the bell or whatever it is. That should just be part of how you live.
Yes.
And that's the standard at which you set. What kind of life do you want your children to be accustomed to? And what do you want to be hard, right? Like, it's like when you never teach your children about nutrition, then when they get older, it's hard because they feel like they're giving up, sweets or junk food or pop or whatever it is, instead of just like, I didn't drink pop, so there was never pop in our house. So my kids don't drink pop, so there's just no pop, like it's just how we always lived. And it's not that they like missed out on pop or, whatever, but it's like setting the standard for how you live and then how your children live and then how they're going to grow up and raise their children and their children. And that is such a special thing to have those good, positive core values. So kudos to you for that.
Thank you.
I love that so much. So much. Okay, let's give some tips, tools, and resources. What is your favorite book or podcast right now?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Other than the Elite Life podcast,
Right.
of course.
So, spoiler alert, I really don't read. I'm terrible about reading. And the one thing though I am listening to right now is the Let Them Theory. I listen to it on the Amazon Music or whatever, but
Yes.
I am terrible though about listening to things, like I don't have that attention span to listen and to read. I do my Bible study every morning, and I have a few different Bible studies that I do, but I'm maxed out at that point. Reading a book is, unfortunately, it's not something that I just have the capacity to do, but I can listen to it while I'm doing something, and actually, get something out of it. But that Let Them Theory is really the first thing that I have listened to in a long time. That's an actual like book. Most of the time it's just like short snippets, again, like one of our Bible studies or whatever. They're short little, snippets of something that don't require a lot of, long-term focus or for me to remember what was, the whole story. So
What has been your favorite takeaway from the Let Them Theory?
Really just, everybody's going to have an opinion and a thought and feelings and about what you do and how you do it. And really, just allowing them to let them have that and not taking it on, taking it personally. I've kind of always had a theory, a little saying, if they're not paying your bills or wiping your butt, then,
Their opinion doesn't matter.
Right. Don't give them that much power. And
That's fair.
I know it's a little bit crass. And again, Kevin will...
I mean, she says something like that in the book. I don't know how far along you are, but she does talk about.
But it's true. It's reclaiming your power through reclaiming your peace.
Yeah, and just, not everything requires a reaction, and what other people do is their choice, and you really just need to worry about what goes on in your own house, in your own life, because you
mind your business.
That's all you can control is how you react and what you do. So
yeah, my friend Nicole said the other day, that her life coach had told her, you don't have to show up to every argument you're invited to.
Ooh.
And I was like, dang, that's so true.
Yeah.
Like, silence is also an answer.
Yes.
Silence is an answer. Like you say, no is a full sentence. Like, we don't have to participate in this.
Correct.
Go ahead, throw your temper tantrum. I'll be over here, doing what I got to do. So I love that. We just recorded right before you came. We recorded a whole episode about the let them theory. So go look for that in our episodes. And if it's not in there, then it'll be next week.
Yeah, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss when we launch that one.
Give us a golden rule for agents in small towns.
Don't burn bridges. That is huge because the real estate business in small communities, the folks that have been in the game, they've been there a long time, they're not going anywhere. It's not like down in the city where you deal with this agent one time and you're probably never going to deal with them again in your life.
Fair.
We are all constantly working with each other up there. And while they might, another person might not do something how you would do it, or, they don't maybe do it as ethically or as crossing the T's and dotting the I's, as I would or whatever. You have to learn to work with them and do the best by your client, because again, it's not a one and done deal. You're going to work with these people and for as long as you're a realtor in this area, and just basically learning how to navigate those and those relationships, and be able to stand firm when you need to, but again, not burning the bridge and telling somebody off. It's because the next time you want to work with them, or next time you want to put an offer in for your client, well, they might probably not, they might not really push for your offer to get chosen because they don't want to work with you because you told them off.
For sure.
And
For sure.
that is key. You have to maintain really good professional relationships and not do shady things, not burn bridges, and that's huge because you want them to work with you.
Right. That's so good.
Like you said too, in a small community, everybody knows everybody's business.
Absolutely.
And so if you're a jerk, by the end of the week, everybody's going to know you're a jerk.
Oh, absolutely. Man, I couldn't get away with anything when I was a kid. Because my grandpa owned the grocery store in town. So my mom was at the grocery store. And that means we were at the grocery store. So we knew everybody. And if my sister and I walked, downtown for something, I mean, I swear, even if we looked the wrong way, something, my mom would know before we got back to the store.
They got the tin can with the rope. They're like,
Pretty much.
You know what Rebecca was out here doing? I saw the girls that were messing with those boys behind the movie theater.
Yeah, you couldn't get away with anything. So yes, small town, small community life. And even though we have, the thumb is a very vast place, but we're all connected. We are all very, intertwined. So even though I'm in Brown City, I'm very connected to all the other communities. People know me and I know them, and there's relationships. So if I make somebody mad in Brown City, I mean, probably all the way up the chain of the thumb, they're going to hear about it. You know what I mean? Somebody
better mind your P's and Q's up there.
That's right. You have to toe the line.
So next one is, what is your favorite Michigan town beside Brown City?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I like a lot of them. I'm a huge fan of Traverse City because it's beautiful. There's so much to do there. I lived there at one point many years ago, just when I was early in my nursing career, and I liked it. It's very geared to the outdoors, which is kind of my whole my life, and that's what I love to do is be outdoors. So that's probably one of my favorite Michigan towns. Besides being in the thumb. I mean, but the thumb is so great. Especially getting farther up north in the thumb. Bad Axe is a phenomenal town. You wouldn't think that being at the tip of the thumb that they would have as much as they do, but I mean, there's a Meijer there. So I mean,
there's a Meijer.
There's a Meijer.
They
got
a Meijer,
not just a Walmart.
They got a Meijer.
Oh, fancy.
I know, living high on the hog. But yeah, Bad Axe is a phenomenal town in the thumb. So you have to go up there sometime.
You mentioned that you enjoy outdoor activities. Tell us about your favorite outdoor activity.
I think you ladies know I'm obsessed with hunting.
So we've decided that when society collapses, if Jesus doesn't come back first, we're going to grab you on our way out to the compound because we're going to need you to help out with the food stuff.
That's fine.
Okay.
It's going to be like Katniss Everdeen on the Hunger Games.
Yeah, it's going to be her and Ryan just making sure we're all fed. And does Kevin go hunting too?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're set.
Yes.
We're set. Me and you will do the
yes.
spreadsheets. We'll take inventory. And they'll take care of food. It'll be perfect.
Yes. Yeah. I hunt a lot and harvest a lot of venison each year, harvest a lot of deer. I go out and shoot my deer, whether with a bow or with my gun, and drag it to where I need to drag it. Then I pick it up with the tractor bucket and I hang it and I field dress it and do all the gross things. But I mean, I'm at that point in my life though that I am really okay handing that part over to Kevin when he's there. Like, I'm like, oh, you're here. You can do that. I'm gonna
Go take a shower.
I'm going to be in the house. I'll have something made for you.
Absolutely. I'll get the potatoes and carrots going. There was a time when Ryan, our neighbor at the last place we lived, hated our guts because we were the hillbillies that lived next door and her house was perfect, pristine. Ryan's got a half-dead boat in the driveway. He's got all his work stuff, and then he brought a deer home, and he's got the garage door open, and he's doing all the things. And at one point I was in the house and he was like, get the veggies ready. And he just chopped a fresh chunk off, threw it on the grill, brought it in. I had the veggies and I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Yes. That's
Trisha's like, look at that face. Look at that face. She's like, nope.
I'm just laughing because Kylie's old house was like off the busiest road in Oakland County. And they, they're just
Carol
cutting
hated
up
us.
deer in their garage. Like, it's one thing in Brown City. It's another thing in Waterford.
No. You would be surprised. Like driving around during deer season, I see so many hanging in the front yard from the pine tree while they're, drying out or doing whatever. Like, you'd be surprised if you actually drove around.
Well, and that was like when you were out in Novi. I used to live in Novi, South Lyon area. And when we moved here, it was actually more of a culture shock, even just moving from Novi to here, because number one, at the gas stations, they sell bags of carrots. And I'm like, why are we selling bags of carrots? And I realized it was for the hunters.
And you can't bait deer. So I'm just that is not for the deer. That's for the squirrels.
Okay. Well,
right.
See, I still don't know.
Ryan saw this thing on Facebook. It was like someone put a feed pile out and there was a sign and it said, this is not for deer. Any deer caught getting into this pile will be shot on sight.
Yeah. And then the other thing is I'll be driving from, Livonia home and there's just dudes walking down the street with like weapons on their backs. Yes. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm not in Kansas anymore. No. Like, I only moved from Novi to Clarkson, and it's still already.
But you got to park on the side of the road to get into the state land in a good spot.
Yeah. See, I'm very fortunate now to navigate state land. I'm pretty spoiled, with where I live. And I spend, pretty much every free moment that I can out in our woods, because if it's not deer that I'm after, then it's shed hunting. I love to look for shed antlers and then morels, and turkeys. Like right now.
What about squirrel?
Yeah, I don't really like. They're a little too greasy for me. But
okay, fair.
They're not. I'll eat it, but I'm not gonna go out of my way.
Okay.
But if they're on my bird feeder. It's hot.
I'm getting my 22 and you're done.
Yes, and woodchucks and all the varmints and stuff like that. That's a big problem out there. They ruin your buildings and whatnot. But yes, outdoor life is like my obsession, my life, and I would literally hunt every day. If I was able, and I am out there. During hunting season, as much as possible, just because. I mean, why wouldn't I want to be? It's great. You just sit in the tree or sit in your tent and wait for something to happen.
I love it.
And there's a spiritual aspect to it as well.
Absolutely.
Ryan has told me several times, and I felt it on our honeymoon. We went duck hunting and we went deer hunting. Well, I sat there. He looked. So, but he said, I have never felt so connected to God as when I'm in that tree before dawn and I'm watching the sun come up through the trees, especially if there's snow on the ground. He's like, it's quiet. You can hear yourself. There's no stimulation. He's like, it is so spiritual.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's the best place to go and be with God.
Amen. I like it.
All right. Before we close up, we always like to ask a couple fun questions. If you could go back and tell 15-year-old Rebecca something, what would you tell her?
It's okay to have fun and not work so much. Because I had 2 jobs from the time I was 12. So I would just go and I worked.
Yeah.
So I would tell myself to do something fun. It's okay.
I love that. Kylie, want to do one of your fun questions?
If you could be any animal, what would you be?
I would be my dog Pearl. I mean, she has a
I always say Billy too. I'm like, that girl lives the life.
Yeah, I would be Pearl. I mean, she's cute. She's fluffy. Everybody gives her treats. She lays in the chair all day. I mean, yeah.
What more do you want?
Please sign me up.
I'm over here like dolphin, lion.
Nope. I see the life Pearl lives, and it's pretty good.
All right. That is our time for today. Is there anything else you want to let our listeners know before we wrap up, Miss Rebecca?
I think just really driving home the point about serving and really too being generous. Radical generosity will get you farther than not.
I love it. And if you want to find Rebecca, you want to buy or sell some real estate, some commercial, some vacant land in the Thumb or around that Brown City area, you can always find her on our website, eliterealtymi.com. Go to Meet the Team and you'll see Rebecca Vincent's a beautiful headshot on there and it'll connect you right to her. She's also on Facebook. Are you on Instagram too? Nope, just the Facebook, the Book of Faces. You can find her there. We'll also link her info in the show notes and have her cell phone number on there. And if you like the show, share the show. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Oh, that's Kylie's. Kylie's giving me a look. Go ahead. Kylie,
This is my line.
Kylie likes to wrap us.
I close us out and you say bye.
All right.
That's how this works.
Do not step out of structure.
No. Now
Kylie.
listen here, listeners. All of what Trisha said, hit that sub and come back next Thursday because we drop fresh content every Thursday here on the Elite Life.
Bye.
See, that's how you do it. That's how it goes. You're going to freak people out. Our listeners aren't going to know what's going on.
Thank you for joining us today on the Elite Life Podcast with Trish and Kylie. Don't forget to share this episode with a friend so we can keep delivering you more fantastic insights on grit, grace, and growth. Stay connected with us on Instagram and Facebook, where we'll keep the ideas flowing to help you build a life you love and leave a legacy you can be proud of. Until next time.